Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. Really glad you're here today. I'm going to tackle something that I actually haven't ever done any channeling on at all. So we're going to be, calling in Masudius. So this is the thing, right? On December 21st, there is that, I think it's Saturn Pluto conjunction. Don't correct me if I have it wrong. I'm sorry. Um, Literally, what I know about astrology, you could put on the top of a pinhead and have 42 angels dancing around still, okay? So, but when I think about this December 21st, like really big deal, because it really, really is a big deal. A lot of astrologers are saying that's going to sort of usher in the age of Aquarius, and we're going to sort of start moving away from the really materialistic aspects of the way we live and what we prioritize. So that's all really super exciting. I, of course, am thrilled because that just feels really, really like we're talking about more of that, feminine, divine energy, right? So, but it got me to thinking um, that that connects really closely to, the 5D energy, that fifth dimension energy that I believe we have already entered into and are slowly moving our way, we're like right on the edges of it, right? So we're slowly moving our way, I guess, to a center area. And that got me thinking about Atlantis and Lemuria and how many of us who are currently here on the planet don't belong here, okay? It's as if um and many of the light workers and earth angels, many of the empaths, many of the astrologers, psychics, intuitives, um we all sort of have that same feeling, which is, we're kind of here for a very specific purpose. There's things we were here to witness, things are here to help transition. And a lot of us don't belong here. Like we just don't, right? And that doesn't mean we haven't had several lives here on the earth, because I believe we have. But it's sort of like where we vibrationally sit, where our home base is really not here. And many of us will complain about, that lower vibrational energy and how dense it is here and how heavy it is here and how easy it is to just sort of surrender to that heavier energy, and how it can really be a struggle to kind of maintain the vibration that really resonates with us um, in a more accurate way. So I thought I would really like to take a look at the connections between Lemuria, Atlantis, and us, our present time. And part of the reason for that is because, as a lot of you know, Lemuria and Atlantis both failed because they didn't sort of reach for their highest selves, for their better angels. And the corruption and the abuse of technology really did lead it to their downfalls, despite the fact that there were amazing healing temples and teaching temples, and they did work with crystals and refracted light and sound that we haven't even dreamed of here on this planet. So in many ways they were farther ahead of us, and yet they still made mistakes that basically brought the civilizations down. We now feel like we are a much sort of newer evolution, but yet this is the challenge that we seem to be um, wanting to succeed at. So I want to just ask Studious if he can give us some insights about that sort of linear, if you will, line between Lemuria and Atlantis and now. So those of you who are wondering, there he is. Atticus is having his morning nap. Oh, that's a good boy. Go back to sleep. Okay, so here we go. Masudius. I'm looking for some guidance, some insight, some information, some direction on the relationship between the civilizations of Lemuria Atlantis, and where we currently are now on the planet. Well, greetings. It's lovely to once again have the opportunity to share what wisdom and insights we have with you and the amazing Soulprint community that has evolved. So you're asking a very timely question in that your feeling and your sense of things is really very accurate. December 21st, as you record time, is in fact a very significant date in a multitude of ways and reasons, astrologically, numerology. It all ties into this really being the beginning of a transition to an opportunity for the earth to almost like create a new direction, set a new course. And because that is happening as this fifth dimension energy is starting to be felt, it's a very powerful and profound time because questions need answers. And the questions are, what is for the greatest good of all? How do we ensure that those who have more acquisitions do not try or do not continue to manage or handle things so that they have the advantage and others don't? So let's go back, shall we? In many ways, Lemuria, as you know it, was a civilization of extremes. There was tremendous technology. A great deal of skill was understood about the power of energy, moving things around energetically, targeting certain aspects to create the results desired energetically. Part of what happened in Lemuria is that the technology allowed for the more spiritual, healing, higher vibration disciplines to flourish. So there was not necessarily a meeting of the minds as much as we don't approve of how you're using a lot of the wisdom and knowledge you have, but your wisdom and knowledge is allowing us, the healers and the teachers and the artists and the musicians and the craftspeople, to really flourish. And so there was a sort of begrudging acceptance, because as long as one side ignored what the other side was doing, they were able to move forward. The other side, the technology side, we'll call it, was very anxious to keep the more spiritual aspects happy. Because if they were happy, then they weren't paying too much attention to what was actually going on behind the scenes. And the lower vibration or the heavier vibrational energy of that time was kind of scared, especially of the healers and the prophets and the seers of the time. And so it was the kind of situation where they were happy to give what they gave because it kept sort of a lot of attention off of them. And the other side of it was the healers and the seers felt that it was I don't know, an expedient compromise. And so that is how things on that planet, escalated and ended up in a situation where ultimately the civilization really was sort of destroyed. Now, aspects of it have risen up and they still exist on a higher, different vibrational level. But the residue that was left on the planet then became something that globally there was an intention set to attempt to heal and choose better. Along came Atlantis. And in many ways, Atlantis was even more evolved. They were able to do energy work, particularly, as if they were directly plugged into source. So powerful was some of the work that they were able to manifest on the earth, especially impressive given the heavier vibrations of the planet. You must understand that earth is a place for beginnings. In many ways, it is viewed as sort of the elementary school of the universe, of the galaxy, of all that is and all that ever will be. And so it is on Earth that basics are learned, survival, comfort, being able to make and manufacture and sustain, and the desire and the willingness to share and keep things sort of more balanced. And it is the eternal dance. It is the eternal struggle of Earth. Is this constant trying to keep the yin and the yang in harmony and in balance with each other. Because that is, in this format, is where you are able to very effectively experience both sides of any coin, because you are given so many opportunities, not only in terms of the variety of multiple lifetimes you have here, but because of the thing that you would recognize as karma, which allows situations to circle back, sometimes within days and weeks, sometimes within, a slightly longer period of time, and of course, from lifetime to lifetime. So Atlantis, in many ways, was they were advanced in a way that allowed them to sort of disregard the balance that is a necessary part of the evolution of the planet and the people on the planet. Very often, when seers or psychics, intuitives go back and they look at Atlantis and Lemuria, they themselves were there. They were part of the healers. And so that is where their memories take them. But you must understand that in both of those civilizations, there was incredible corruption. There was unbelievable greed. There was violence. There was experimentation, the likes of which there is still repercussions being felt. And so over time, those civilizations have sort of taken on a mystical feel, a feel of these incredibly advanced societies that just somehow were so amazing and they just elevated up. Well, they did elevate up, but that was because they destroyed themselves. Because in Atlantis, in particular, not only were the lessons of Lemuria not really paid attention to, but in fact, in many ways, they were ignored. So what you had was almost like two separate civilizations living simultaneously in the same place. You had one aspect that was highly spiritual, highly advanced, very, very connected to source. And then you had another aspect that was very materialistic, very corrupt, and very willing to empower themselves in a way that was not for the greater good, but in a way that was absolutely significant and important for their own personal and selfish means. So, along has come this civilization. And a few things are quite different. One, the population of the planet is so much larger. The civilization is itself is larger. And for ease of reference, we are now going to refer to this civilization as simply Earth. So the thinking was, the reason for this sort of population expansion was because they felt that if there were more on both sides, there would be a better opportunity for sort of this meeting in the middle attitude, because it would not be a few on either side, it would be many. And the hope was is that with the many, there would be these pockets all over the civilization Earth that would be able to commune and connect with each other. And hopefully the balance would be more respected, and there would be that center ground that would not cause this imbalance, which ultimately is what brought the civilizations down. And there were a few other aspects that were brought in. Certainly astrological aspects played a role and a part in the evolution of the current civilization. It was also determined, and this was a collective determination, okay? Do not think that this was sort of God's doing or the creator's mandate. It wasn't. This was a group of souls, once again, coming together and saying, wow, we really have got to get this straight. We've got to do better. And so one of the decisions, if you will, that was made was that the advances on both sides of the spectrum would not be as intense or large as they had been in previous civilizations. So the technology, while it has been a fascinating evolution in Earth civilization, in many ways is so far inferior from the previous experiences. And equally, in terms of spirituality, again, the civilization, while there are those that have understanding of what is beyond and the magnitude and the magnificence of what is beyond, by and large, that information has also been restricted. For any of you who have done any sort of past life work, particularly healers, and you have, found yourself in the temples and you watch the work that is being done, there is work with color intensity and refracted light and sound vibrations and all kinds of elements or components that currently in this civilization really are just in their infancy. And again, that was by design. So not only was there a larger sort of population on the civilization Earth, but so too was there a desire to call forward beings and energies from other higher vibrational dimensions, other galaxies, other worlds. So that more balancing energy, that more compassionate energy, the knowledge of the beauty and the creation that comes from being in harmony and both sides being able to work for a common good going in one direction, because that is something that has easily been achieved in other places and spaces and vibrations. Many souls from various dimensions have gathered on the earth, and there are millions of light workers and earth angels and healers and seers and psychics and astrologists, and there's millions of you. And you work individually and you work collectively. You work within your own kind of soul group, but you also work with other soul groups, and they're all coming together to give the Earth civilization the very best possible opportunity to learn the lessons of the past, which is it must be center, it must be for the good of all. There is none who should be lower or higher. There is value in every soul and in every soul's journey. And so even as you look back just over the last few thousand years, which is just such a small number, you can see that there has been this continual push and pull, violence and dominance, anger and rage, lower vibrational energy just careening out of control, even as there have been great advances in terms of technology and understanding moving forward. So too has the other side. Initially, that sort of spirituality evolved in terms of what you would now deem sort of pagan, and then it went to organized religion, and it is now finally evolving into something that is more heart-centered. People believe what they believe because it resonates with them, it speaks to them, it talks to them. They don't want to be told what to believe by other sources. They want to believe what sings to their spirit as it should be. And yes, there are still those entrenched in the older religions. Paganism, of course, was far closer in many ways to the spiritualists of now, where they look and operate in a far more holistic way. And so right now, the civilization is going through one of those periods where once again, there is that sense of the opportunities to come together and be able to move forward in a more united and cohesive fashion. And as you can see, witness everywhere in the world and anywhere in the world, you will see that there still is the struggle between my higher self and my lower self. And that challenge continues. And this is not something that the souls that have come onto the planet now, who are here and doing what they do, there are going to be continual waves coming forward as the earth moves through this profound period of learning and opportunity for growth. And so, as this civilization, your civilization, moves forward, you are going to see with great clarity the two sides. And the tendency is to have the other side behave more like the other side. So there is not so much a meeting in the middle attitude as much as there is a, well, my way is right and you need to do what I say. And then the other side says, no, my way is right and you, right? So that's where you're at right now, just in terms of a civilization. But the opportunities for that forward growth are there and they are strong. And that is why, sayings like, love and light and holding your power and, really tuning inward and connecting with source of all has really become very commonplace now. And so that eternal dance for that balance and that harmony continues. And there are many of you on the planet who are working in physical form to create a more workable balance going forward, more of a sense of, utopia and spiritual growth and balance. But there are many who are at the exact opposite end of the spectrum. And the more the spiritual and the light shines, the more the greed and the corruption becomes less hidden. So not only are there many on the planet itself who are working to create this movement forward, but you have legions from all other galaxies that are watching over with great interest and who are supplying what support can be done. But you must understand that history has shown that on the earth, that balance is very, very hard to achieve. And it always seems to end up destroying the best of it. And make no mistake, we are not saying that technology and evolution are not a good thing. They are absolutely a vital and necessary thing in terms of something as simple as learning and understanding how to keep the planet you are on sustaining the life that is on it. But it is that inability to come to center that has created the downfalls previously experienced. And so now there are more people. There are far, far more light workers and higher energy beings. And frankly, the evolution or the movement forward is slower, so that there's opportunities for people to catch their breath and evaluate and look around, so that the rush towards this pinnacle has been slowed down. so that there is more opportunity for growth and understanding, and as such, more opportunities for that balance and that harmony to be achieved. Never lose sight of the fact that the Earth civilization is about the balance. It really is not about one side overpowering the other. It is about both sides being clear of their power and their energy and their force, and both sides working for the common good. Both sides understanding that it is the perfect balance and blend, but it takes work. There are so many of you, and you are working diligently, and you are to be congratulated, and eternal blessings comes to you for the work that you do and the energy that you expend and share for the betterment of this civilization, even though in many cases it is not even your civilization. But again, for the greatest good for all is really the energy and the motivation behind the experience that you all are having on the planet. There are other places, other dimensions where this balance has not only been achieved, but is baseline. And from there, people move closer and closer to a more enlightened state. But always remember, there are vital and valuable lessons that must be learned on the earth, in the earth civilization. It's incredibly important. You know, you can't do calculus unless you understand that 1 and 1 makes 2. And if you have 10 and you take away 5, you get 5. And we do not demean in any way, shape, or form the brilliance of the souls on the planet and the work that they are doing. But this is a planet of achieving balance. And you have all the support and divine guidance that we can shower upon you. Reach out to us. Ask us to help you sustain, stay in faith, protect your energies, amplify your energies, learn new information. Ask us to help to lower the greed and the corruption. Ask us to work with you as we always, always stand ready. As always, we thank you so much for the opportunity to share our insights, and we leave you with gratitude and blessings and divine love. We remain, at this time, Masudius. Okay, I don't have anything to add to that. Channeling is always a very, very interesting experience, and I thank you for taking this journey with me today. As always, all channeled information is copyrighted under my personal name. Until next time, stand in your power and stand in your light. Bye for now.